everyone. Welcome again to Get Celebritized. I'm your host, Aurea McGarry, where I help you learn how to live more, give more, and earn more. Like I like to say, earn more, live more, and give back more. This episode is going to be chock full of all of that today because I have a very special guest here with me, Tim Buwick, who I actually discovered on YouTube. You ever discover somebody really cool on YouTube? Then you reach out and connect with them? Well, that's exactly what I did. And Tim Buwick is everything all rolled up into one. Let me tell you a little bit about him. He is dedicated to breathing life into your life. Such a person of our hearts. He's an author, a corporate keynote speaker. He's an athletic and business coach. He's an MC, a sports announcer. He's the author of Blasé into Blaze. His personal mission is to leave footprints on another person's heart by creating stick to your rib moments that are infused by light, laughter, and love. We're going to talk to him about all of this and see how he incorporates living his best life with all of these magical influences that he works in. So, Tim, let's get celebritized.
Aurea, it is a pleasure to be with you. Aurea Sunshine, this is exciting. I'm so glad you reached out to me.
I am too. I am a newbie pickleball fan, and I've been, I just got PPR certified. So I was looking on YouTube for some extra tips. I was looking at PPR and I was looking for coaches, kind of seeing if I can get any insight on what that big test was going to be on. And you popped up in my YouTube feed with excellent tutorial videos. Well done. You know me as a producer, I like to look at well done, good technique, people that have some good visuals. Yours were excellent, spot on. And I did a little deep dive into the intro and I saw that you're a speaker, an MC, an author, all this. And here you are, a pickleball coach on YouTube. I'm like, wait a minute, you kind of have it all going on like me and a lot of my students do. So I had to bring you on and talk to you about how do you do all that you do? You're like a person after our own heart.
Well, it's interesting because when I hear the introduction, and thank you for that, I look and I beat myself up and I say, gosh, I should be doing so much more. I could be doing so much more. And I guess that's just the way I'm wired is, I am interested and curious in about everything. And the problem is that, you might be able to do everything, just not all at once. And so that's the challenge.
All at once.
Exactly. That's the challenge of all that is to do all that I do and to do it to the best of my ability. And it's one of the things that I think about in the many streams of income and different streams of professionalism that I engage in is I think about the definition of success. And I want to be the best at everything I do. But my measure of success is not how it's compared to someone else, but compared to how good I can be if I give it 100%. Mm-hmm. And that's what I want to do every day is to say, can I be better? Yes, I can be better. It doesn't matter what anybody else is doing. What am I doing to improve myself in whatever that endeavor may be?
Well, I'm glad you said that because you have really good heart in your quotes that I noticed when I was looking on your website. Like you talk about wanting to breathe life into other people's life. Here you are, an author, a speaker, a tennis coach, a pickleball coach. You've got so much going on. And when in my world, when I work with a lot of women in my coaching businesses, they find it difficult to multitask and monetize it all well. So many of us have many, many passions. So talk to us about how you balance all these juicy things you love to do. You've got the heart to want to really touch lives. You don't seem like the person, that's just, I just want to go out and make $1 million and that money drive, but you do make a career out of it. So talk to us about how you do that.
Well, I was just going to say that I'm not money driven. I mean, that doesn't provide happiness and joy for me. And the key, to back up just a little bit, I was with Wilson Sporting Goods for nearly 30 years. Loved it, worked with a great team there. It's a great brand, fun industry, and was director of promotions and got to work with Roger Federer and Serena Williams and Billie Jean King and all these big names and got to do a lot of cool stuff. Had nothing to do with money. It was the people and doing what you're passionate about.
And it's fun to
And
get paid. It's when you do something that you love, you don't never feel like you're working.
exactly,
What did you
exactly.
do for them? What was your job?
So I was a territory manager in Kansas City, and then the president of Wilson moved me out to Charlotte, and I ran the Carolinas business. And then I moved inside and was director of promotions for Racket Sports. And so I was charged with signing the contracts for the ITA and the NCAA, and running our academy business, and doing worldwide demo days, and working with our Wilson advisory staff. And
Wow.
again, just had a great team there, and it was just so much fun. And such a fun industry to be in. So I feel truly blessed. So then after I left Wilson in 2018,
Why did you leave?
and I left, it was we got separated. There was a change in management, and they wanted to go in a different direction. And so, it was like, okay, I think it's time to leave now. And so I thought it was going to be so much more difficult to leave because I had been known for almost 3 decades as the Wilson guy. Oh, you're the Wilson guy. I can't remember your name, but you're the Wilson guy. And I found it was really almost easy. But the challenge was, now what? The question was, now what? And what it turned out to, that eventually became a book, is a deep dive within myself. As Socrates says, know thyself. I thought I did until I went through a process, which I call the M5 discovery process, of finding out who you are. And it came to fruition of going through this process of an equation that I call the Ablaze equation. And the Ablaze equation is this: it's passion, which is what I have, plus prowess, which is what I do, multiplied by purpose, why I do, plus problem, what could I solve in the world?
That's really
And
important.
if I get that equation right, then that's going to lead to an ablazing life, that I'm going to hit on all cylinders. And so I first had to take a deep dive in how I'm uniquely wired. What are my gifts and abilities, talents, and how can I lean into that? Because one thing I know, Aurea, is I suck at a lot of things.
We
I,
all do.
I'm really bad at a lot of things, but there's a handful of things that I do pretty well.
Mhm.
I need to lean into that. And then once I figured that out and said, okay, where can I put those skills and abilities and passion to good use to add value to people, add value to the world, which, as we know, give and you shall receive.
Mhm.
And so that's how all these different endeavors came about, because it comes from passion and purpose.
You said something really insightful in what you just said there. I want everybody to pick up on this because it's really important. In all of that, you said the main point in there that a lot of people miss was you had to also, with all of the things you do well, find the pain you wanted to solve. You've got to solve a problem. And I find, and tell me if you find the same thing, we try to do things that we're really good at, but we're not solving a problem that people really need solved. Do you find you have to sit back and take stock of, okay, what problem do people want to have solved? Do you find that helps the monetization and the career aspect of utilizing your passion, your dreams, turning into a business?
Well, I just recorded a video yesterday that I haven't published yet, but it was essentially asking the question, do you live your life by design or by drift? And are you designing your life, or are you drifting through life? And it was talking about, at the end of the day, did you have a great day? And if you did, why?
Mm-hmm.
And not too many years ago, I got to the end of the day and I go, this was a great day. And then I thought, why don't I do an analysis? What is the anatomy of a great day for me?
Mm-hmm.
And I went through and I said, it was a great day because I did some public speaking. I added value to people. I brought joy to people. I was with people and connected, built some good relationships. There was some opportunities that came my way from these conversations, and I came energized, and I did some social aspects, some business aspects, some professional aspects, and I came to it and I go, okay, that's the anatomy of a good day for me. It may be totally
Yeah,
different for you.
absolutely.
So then my next question is, how can I replicate this more often? So if I know that's what brings me joy and hopefully brings value to others, how can I put this on rinse and repeat? And I need to look at that. So what are the ways that I can do that? So me as a sports announcer and a speaker, I went through speech communications at Eastern Illinois, and so I was a radio, morning show host and a sports and a news anchor on television. Did all that in my early part of the career, and so it's kind of like my background. A love of broadcasting, a love of communications, and so I look and I say, what can I uniquely do to contribute to the world? And everybody is different. Now, as the saying goes, be yourself because everyone else is taken.
Right.
So if I'm going to be myself and be true to myself, what are the things that I can do that I can uniquely do? And for me, that I do a lot of sports announcing. I'm going to be announcing 5 basketball games in 2 days starting tomorrow.
How about
And doing it.
UGA?
What's that?
How about for UGA? Come on,
Yeah,
dog.
go dogs, it'd be a blast. A lot of passion there. And that's something I can uniquely do because of experience, because of passion, and because of my love for creating an atmosphere and a culture of fun and an excitement and enjoyment. I want people to come away from an interaction with me being better for it and bringing joy.
Hey, sorry about that. Technical issues. Sometimes you get dropped. So I hope that didn't hurt when the internet dropped you, Tim.
Yeah, just a little bit of a bump, yeah, but I'm not concussed, so that's a good thing.
I love it. But we were talking about being uniquely yourself. Let's keep on going with that.
Well, things that I can uniquely do. So one of the great things about doing this introspection and finding out exactly how you're wired, what you're good at, what you're not good at, where are your successes? What are you doing when you feel your best? And when you're filled with success, what are the things that you're doing and who are you in those moments? Once you lean into that, then you can kind of pick the avenues in which to go in order to lean into that, to make that a regular part of your life. Now, we all have to do certain things in life that we would rather not. So I could go and I could tell my wife and I could just say, I'm sorry, I'm not gifted to clean toilets. It's just not in my gift mix. I'm not gifted to take the trash out. There's certain things that we have to do, things that I can do that are uniquely me, that I can do to the best of my ability. And so for me, that's keynote speaking, it's writing, it's sports announcing, it's emceeing events to create that culture that brings joy to others.
Great advice. Great advice. And I know a lot of the questions that my entrepreneurs have on this, Tim, is how do you take that? Which one, are you able to monetize? Do you monetize them all? Because a lot of them are still trying to bounce back from it and reinvent themselves. They love doing what they're doing. They have a passion to speak, but they're finding it hard to monetize it, and it gets all consuming. So is there one lane you're in that is your career, your bulk meat and potatoes, pays the bills, all the good stuff, and everything else kind of is accent? Or is it multiple streams of income? Because I could ask 5 different coaches. 5 different coaches will give us 5 different answers. Yes, multiple streams of income. No, focus on one. What say you? We know there's no right or wrong, but you'll resonate with certain people today with your view on this.
In my world, and it's going to be different for everyone, obviously,
Of
because everyone has different gifts and abilities and passions. In my world, I have a variety of streams of income, and I don't just one river. Okay. Is that I do a multiple depending on the season of life. So I'm booking more and more keynote addresses, which pay well, and I could lean into that further, which would clearly be a main stream of income. But I love teaching pickleball and platform tennis as well. So I'm on the court quite a bit as well. Book sales, I get royalties off the book sales. That's great. Yeah, I get paid for all the announcing gigs that I have. I've officiated weddings and have gotten paid for that. I've done different types of side projects for people, even in the physical realm of building things, in which I've gotten paid for. So there's certain things I have decided at my career that I'm going to lean into the things that I truly enjoy. I think, unfortunately, for a lot of people, we become slaves to the paycheck.
Mhm.
And when we do that, and then we find out, and this book is really for the seasoned professionals that are in a stage of life where I've been doing the same thing for a while and I'm just kind of flatlining, hopefully not literally. And
Right.
I'm flatlining and I'm going, gosh, the passion's gone. Well, why is it? And it may be that you have been consumed in your life, both personal and professional, by doing a lot of things that you're not naturally good with. And I've looked at different opportunities that have been captivating with the big title of CEO or president or this type of thing, and that have kind of come my way of, would you be interested in exploring this? And I look at the mechanics of the job, even though it could pay well, it has the big title, I would get the status and ego, and we all have a certain amount of ego and want that encouragement and that self-reinforcement. But I looked at the mechanics of some of these positions and I go, I'd be miserable. I'd be
Mhm.
doing that all day. It doesn't play well to my strengths.
Right.
And so, again, know thyself. I know what my strengths are and I know what my weaknesses are.
I'm glad you're giving that green light because there's different personality types. I've delved a lot into the different personality types. And again, so it really helps, there's no right or wrong. Nobody has to be exactly one way and in this box. This is how you live your life or earn your career or what your relationship should look like because people are all so different. And I love that you're giving the green light to if it's your style and you like living like you and I are similar, like, and a lot
Right.
of my students are like this. We like that eclectic lifestyle. We like one day going out and speaking, another day going out and coaching pickleball, another day, doing a podcast. We like that versatility. Another personality type might need that one main way to do it and have one little hobby. That's okay. But I love that right now you're giving the green light to if you like that multiple stream of income, it's okay. And you don't have to listen to the other coaches and say, no, focus on one thing. You'll never be good. You'll never earn a career, blah, blah, blah. It's not for everyone.
And
So
it's
lean
and
into
it's
you. I like
totally okay to be employed somewhere and
that.
to work the
Absolutely.
day job and work your passion outside of those hours. And
Mm-hmm.
that's okay because we all need to pay the bills. The
Exactly.
the question is at what point you don't want to be, again, a slave to the paycheck or a slave to security. I just had a great conversation with an entrepreneur last night at our paddle, it's our paddle league matches. And so we're huddled around the fire and it's like 20 degrees in Charlotte and we're out playing for a couple of hours. It was great. And we were frozen off the court, but on the court it was great. And so I was talking to this entrepreneur and he was telling me, he says, Tim, I'm all in my business. My entire livelihood with three partners into this business. And my wife keeps asking me, are you sure? Because if this thing goes south,
Right.
we have nothing.
Wow.
And he says, but I know this is what I should do. And I will always look back and say, I never gave it a go. Because
Right.
if it goes, it's going to be a grand slam home run for him. And I was telling him as I said, what's the worst that can happen? You're
Right.
a brilliant, smart guy. He said, you're never going to want for food on the table or a roof over your head. You just start over.
Right.
And the key is to move forward. And for entrepreneurs, we can have 22 failures, but oh, that one.
That
If we
one.
got that one. And so, and it's well known that failure is a must. I mean, we have to
Oh yeah.
fail at things.
Yeah.
And here's something that I've learned, Araya, that was quite unexpected for me because we can delve into the last few years have by far been the most difficult of my life. It's just not even close. Physically,
Right.
relationally, with the family, emotionally, intellectually, spiritually, it's been an incredibly heavy lift. And the stories I could tell are more like a movie where you're going, oh, come on, you're making this up. Like
Right.
open heart surgery and a torn up shoulder and mentally ill family members. And I mean, it's been a heavy lift. And here's what I've learned is not only is failure and suffering and trauma and tragedy unavoidable in this life,
Right.
but it's absolutely essential to our growth.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't realize it until I went through it, of going through the times where you're just cry your eyes out pain.
Right.
And it's saying, all right, what can I learn from this? And how can I grow from this? And it's hard when you're in the darkness. And you may be an entrepreneur watching this right now and just saying, my business is failing and I'm going to lose everything. And you go, how much you're failing forward? What are
Mhm.
you learning from the process? And it's not fun, but absolutely necessary.
It really is. And you really find out who your friends are as well. It's one reason, Tim, I started a women's community called Living Your Legacy by Design. So we can have balcony girlfriends where when those times happen, whether it's financially, whether it's emotionally, whether some of them are going through a divorce or a death in the family, that we're there for each other. And like I said, this community is like $27 a month where you're not always having to find another high ticket coach to help you out of it when you feel like you're falling and you can't put two bills together at the moment. You need some mentorship, you need some hope. And I found that was missing in the community that I was in, that we just need advice sometimes and mentorship from wise people. So I pulled together these mentors and these women and myself to be there for each other, because we'll grow through them, but my heart breaks if I know anyone, male or female, is going through it alone and they don't have somebody that they can just lean on, cry
That
on,
is,
cry with.
I'm so glad you're doing that, because that's one of the most difficult aspects of entrepreneurship. Is I found when I left Wilson and I was under the big brand, and it can carry you to many great places. And you've got IT to back you up, and your laptop blows up, and they'll send you one the next day, and you've got 401k and benefits and all these things of being an employee. When that was gone, I didn't miss necessarily all of that. What I missed was the people.
The
And
water
that's
cooler.
the way that I'm wired. But even for those who are introverts and more of a step back from the social circle, we need the support system. It's
We really do.
absolutely critical, and that's one of the biggest challenges of entrepreneurship is the loneliness of it. And
Hmm.
so by you putting that together, you're leaning into your gifts
Hmm.
and solving a problem in the world. It's perfect.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Because whatever we're going through, we realize we're not going through it alone. Somebody else either going through it now or been through it. So when I was feeling that burnout, kind of loneliness, like, oh my gosh, I just need to talk to somebody that might have an answer to this, but I don't want to buy another program or another. I don't need that because I don't know what my next step's going to be. I
Right.
found a lot of that through the pandemic when everything I did, which you'll relate to this, Tim, was in person. I was a red carpet MC, a TV show host, did events. Everything was with hundreds of people. Pandemic completely shut my income
Mhm.
and career down for a long time. So I had to
Right.
learn how to go online. I had no idea. Well, where do I go? Who do I talk to? How do I learn this? I had to spend a lot of money on coaches. Some were good, some were not, and learn the hard way. So I tried to give, the women now, okay, so you don't have to make buying mistakes and put the cart before the horse. But maybe that's a good program, but you're not ready for it yet. You need A, B, and C before you can even understand this program, which you'll need later on. So it's
Right.
that mentorship, that wise, girlfriends together. We like to be called balcony girlfriends. Where you're die hard. What do you need? Shoulder to cry on, advice. I know somebody that can help you, referrals, and it's just we need community. And one
And
thing that attracted me to you too, Tim, was the fact that you're not only just so successful in this wonderful world that I can relate to, speaking and coaching and athletics, but your mission and you're dedicated to breathing life into others. I hear that a lot with women, but I really don't see that a lot with the men, putting that out there on their website. I'm here to inspire you, which I think
so
is
I
really
I
neat.
raised my hand a moment ago and I go, oh, confession time. I've got
Uh-oh.
a confession to make. Is so I was known through my career. I'm not a shy guy. I'm
Hmm.
pretty outspoken. One of the things I'd love to do is to poke the people above me, the president, the
Fair.
CEO, and I'd have these creative emails, and I'd always tweak them, and I'd have people, how do you get away with that? Well, I only got away with it for so long, and and someone I don't think who is viewed as someone who is lacking confidence. I mean, I'm confident in my abilities. Again, I know what I'm horrible at and I know what I'm good at.
Right.
But here's my confession. I have the aura, I think, of just saying what's on my mind and I don't give a rip what people think. Oh, yes, I do. And I
Oh,
care more than I thought, because once I got into this world, I go, well, why am I not posting more? Why am I not putting my thing? Why am I not creating more content? And to be totally honest, I was afraid. What if I write this book and no one buys it? What if I put out a video and no one watches, no one likes it and everything? And I go, well, and that's where perfectionism, a lot of perfectionism comes from fear. And so you touched on that when you said about entrepreneurship, about being able to put yourself out there and to try things and talk about failure, is to get to the point to not care so much about what other people think, but do what's on your heart. And if you truly have a heart for adding value to others, it'll take care of itself. It will
exactly.
resonate with some people. You'll always have your haters out there. I'm fortunate that I have hundreds of real positive comments about my videos. Oh, but they're not 100% positive. I go, you think this guy is good? Obviously, you don't watch a lot of videos. He's
Right,
not.
right, right.
And there's always haters out there. And you read some of those comments, and for some reason, with negativity, it tends to stick to us like Velcro, and the positive
Slips
parts
off.
that we have slip off us like Teflon. And we're going, no, 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 no,
Other way
no. It should
around.
be. We've got to be able to let it out there and do what's on your heart to do. And
Mhm.
don't worry about it, because one thing I keep in mind is, don't worry so much about what other people think, because guess what, Tim? People aren't spending any time thinking about you.
For
They
sure.
don't wake up in the morning thinking, gosh, I wonder how Tim Buwick's doing today. I wonder what crappy things he's going to put
Right.
out in the world today. They don't care.
Once you got
People listen to one radio station, WIIFM. What's in it for me? That's the radio station they listen to. And
you're
so
so
they
right.
want
You're
to add value.
And I know you do this too, where when we put them out there, I have this what helps me get things out there. I'm not so much a perfectionist like in details. I'm more like the opposite, where if I help one person with whatever it is I'm putting out there, then I've done a good job. Because when I
A
got
win.
cancer in 1999 on my 38th birthday, and don't do the
Mm.
math, but anyway, but when I got cancer, they took out my vocal cord nerve and they told me I'd never speak again above a
Mm.
faint whisper. It'd be impossible. And I remember, for one, I couldn't speak for almost 2 years. It was very faint. Then it started coming back, but I sounded like I had a tracheotomy. It was really bad.
Mm.
And I was very self-conscious of it, but the Lord told me to go ahead and start a talk show to put a spotlight on nonprofits. And I had a, acting background. I did soap operas, born and raised in New York City, whole
Mm-hmm.
9 yards. But now I really sound bad. And I have a little bit of a cold today, so I'm sounding a little bit bad today. But my focus was so on the stories I was telling and my mission in life to spotlight good people making the world better, that I didn't care what I sounded like. And speaking of YouTube, not only before I went on the air and did Habitat for Humanity,
Mm.
my
Yeah.
hair started falling out again 5 years
Uh,
after chemo. So as a
mm.
woman, not feeling beautiful, my hair falling out, having to get a wig, sounding bad, I had to just get my mind off of how I'm not looking like a beauty queen at this moment. This was 10 years ago.
Right.
But these stories have to be told. Went ahead and did it. And on those videos, many times people would say, you sound like a chicken. Literally, that was some comments.
Yeah.
And there were some good comments, of course, about it. But in 1 year, after 22 episodes, I won the Emmy Award for my talk show. And I'm not supposed to be able to talk. And that was my little girl dream. So I
Wow.
wasn't a size 2. I had on sometimes not great wigs, couldn't speak. Everything I shouldn't have been was in that visual part of it, the sounding, but wasn't inside my heart. And I did it anyway. So I love giving people hope. Do what you're supposed to do. Stop worrying about those things that you're thinking you're not good enough to do it. If you're called to do it, do it. No matter what you sound like, no matter what you look like, no matter whether you have technical difficulties and somebody pops off the internet, you got to get back on. It's okay, because you're meant to be doing and saying what you're doing and saying. Get out there and do it. Don't be a
Amen.
perfectionist.
Story. And a lot of times we're so worried about how we're being perceived.
Mm-hmm.
And this is true, just not in the public facing of, I do a lot of public facing things. So I've got an audience in many circumstances of my performance. It doesn't matter. You could be in construction, and
Mm-hmm.
and you
Yeah.
say, you do how you're wired, and what can you do when you lose track of time and you're so involved and so engrossed in the project, whatever that project may be. And that's why it's so gratifying to help people find out how they are uniquely wired, and so that they can craft their personal purpose and mission statement. And that serves as a guardrail for your life. And so when I crafted my personal purpose and mission statement that you said to create stick to your ribs, or to leave footprints on another person's heart by creating stick to your ribs type moments filled with light, laughter, and love. Every one of those words is done with intentionality, because so I think about this and you say, well, what is leaving footprints on another person's heart? Which everyone can do regardless of what industry that they're in.
For sure.
And I say, so I use the example of, if you, what's the one thing you do not want to happen? It's to walk out of the movie theater the same way you walked in.
Mm.
You want to be changed. You want to be different. So when I see a great movie, I will say, oh, that sticks to my ribs. That's going to be with me for a while. We do the same thing with meals. And you go to a restaurant and you go, oh, that was heavenly.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to remember that for a long time. That's what we're called to do in our life. And we can do it. Even the most introverted of people can do this.
You're right.
By their one-to-one interactions, or doing whatever they do with such excellence and care about the other person that it sticks to their ribs because of how you treated them. And, that is the secret to living a high and fulfilling life.
I love that. And the world needs all different personality types. We don't need
Amen.
another Ray. We don't need another Tim. We don't need another Oprah. We all need whoever we are meant to be. Go out there and be it. So I love that. That's perfect. So you're touching a little bit here and there on this book I see behind you, Blasé to Ablaze. And I'd like to talk just a little bit about it because it seems like it's so insightful. I can't wait to get it myself and read this. But I love the title and the tagline. And you talk about Blasé to blaze, but you also say how to keep your fire burning when you're out of fuel. And that has been a real problem in the circle community that I work with, about trying to reinvent, trying to work, and getting burnt out. Tell us a little bit about what you touch on in your book about going from blasé, maybe burnout, to ablaze again.
It's been a remarkable journey. And here's something that I will preface what I say about this, is that what is interesting about this process and in writing a book is not so much what it does to others, but how it has changed me. So as a reminder to the entrepreneurs out there of just saying, regardless of how things turn out, if you do what you're supposed to do, what you will receive from it is multifold, regardless of what or results of it are presented from whatever that endeavor is. So in regards to the book, it started with a bumper sticker. And shortly after I left Wilson, I'm driving around the Queen City of Charlotte, North Carolina, and I see a bumper sticker and it says, whatever. And I'm at a stoplight and I'm looking at this car and I go, so what would possess someone to put a bumper sticker that says whatever on their car? And I said, so what type of person is that? And then as I continued to drive and follow this car, maybe for too long, I'm thinking, wait a second. This is your one and only life, and you're going to put whatever on your bumper? It's not whatever, it's whatever it takes. And I'm going,
wow.
how could you not care? I mean, whatever you see, it's kind of like, yeah, whatever.
Right.
The election, whatever, the sports, whatever, UGA, whatever, and you just say, I know that's offensive. He said, but you cannot be whatever. This is your one shot.
Right.
And,
but look how you change it with one word, whatever, two words, it takes.
Yes.
Wow.
Whatever it takes, not whatever, but whatever it takes. And I thought about the prevailing blasé in the world, that a lot of people, again, go through life by drift and not design. And when you're drifting through life, not doing how you're uniquely wired to contribute to the world, you get to whatever. You get to Blasé because you go, is there a purpose? Yeah, it's a paycheck and I'm paying the bills, but gosh, I can't wait to get drunk on the weekends because I'm working, 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, and oh, thank God it's Friday,
Right.
and and so that stimulated this of how do we go from Blasé to Ablaze, which led to the Ablazing equation of figuring out, no, you've got to figure out how you're uniquely wired and do those things that are your gifts and abilities. And so it was so ironic, Aurea, that as I'm writing this book, how to turn your blahs into ahs to ignite passion and purpose. As I'm writing this book, I'm going through the most difficult circumstances of my entire life.
Wow.
Deaths in the family, a broken arm, a torn up shoulder, open heart surgery, mental illness in the family, suicide attempts. There's also, it was mind numbing how much was coming at me and my family at such a compressed time period. And it was almost as if God was saying, okay, Tim, Blasé to a place. Do you really believe what you're writing, or is this like some pie in the sky, get pumped up type of thing? Don't worry, be happy. And the book was written out of deep emotional, physical, spiritual, intellectual pain. And the irony, it started as a job transition book, a career transition book of figuring out, okay, so now what do I do? And
Right.
then when the personal endeavors happened, with the open heart surgery and the torn shoulder and broken arm and then the family issues and
Right.
deaths and that type of thing, is it became more of how can we, despite the most difficult circumstances in life, how can we overcome and remain ablaze despite everything that's going on? And so it got to be an analysis of this. And the fact is I started this book back in 2018, and then you fast forward to like 2021, and I decided to pick it up again because a friend of mine challenged me and says, that book's inside of you. You better write the damn book. And
Right.
I go, okay. But I love playing platform tennis, especially in the winter when it's cold, and pickleball, and I like to be on the court. Then I broke my arm. Did something I'd never done before. I
Wow.
stepped on my other foot or a shoelace. I went down. I tried to break my fall, ended up breaking my arm. Now I'm out for the season. The
Wow.
vast majority of this book was written with a broken arm because I told myself, I get these texts and say, Tim, it's Fireball Friday. Are you going to be out and you're going to be, well, I can't play for 4 months. So I said, every time they're out there, I'm going up to my creative cove and I
That's
am going to write for 3 or 4 hours instead of like sitting on the bleachers brooding, like I can't be
right.
out with them. I
Be
said,
productive.
all right, I'm going to write the book. And so that's what happened. And so it was analysis of that, of saying, yes, it is still possible to remain ablaze even when the most
Right.
horrific instances and circumstances in life hit.
I can't wait to read this book too. We've learned through. I've had a lot of these conversations through the pandemic, working with the women that I work with, about when you go to write your book. So many of them wanted to write their book, and it was such a good time for people to sit back because they couldn't do anything else to do that book that was blazing inside them. And I did hear one of the ladies said that writing the book is best written from the scars and not during the wound.
Mm-hmm.
So you were going through all this and writing the book. Did you find there was a time when you came out of it that you were now more developing the scars from it, where you could give more insight and this is what worked and this is what didn't? Or is this one really in the juicy wounding part of it? So, like, do you have some really good ahas in there because of it? Because we're
Yeah.
going through it all at the same time.
Well, more confession is when I first started the book, I I wanted to sound smart. I wanted to sound well like the greatest authors and sounded intellectual and I to be honest, I think I was trying too hard.
Hmm.
And then
Happens.
it hit me as I was writing. I go, oh, screw it. Quit
Be
pretending
real.
to try to be somebody else. Just be yourself. And so the book is really written as if I was talking to you. And I go, that's who I am. I'm a conversationalist. I want to try to contribute to your life quit trying to pretend to be this giant intellectual author that, and stop, Tim, just stop and just write it.
I
And
love that.
it became easier. Writing is difficult. I was
It is.
listening to a podcast. Tim Ferriss was talking to Jerry Seinfeld, if I remember.
Okay.
And Seinfeld was saying, he goes, they say that as you write, it gets easier. He says, that's total BS. He says it never gets easier. And it is true. Sometimes you sit down and it's just laborious. But then when you do write from the heart and write from the scars and just say, here's what I've learned through the process.
Right.
And this is battle tested wisdom. Not that I don't possess any special wisdom, but it is through circumstances that I would not wish on anybody. But this works. Is that if you do the steps of Ablaze, and I can go through them with you if you'd like, but I have an acronym Ablaze, and if you do these things consistently on a daily basis, your countenance will change. You can overcome the tragedies and trauma in the world.
Well, I'm going to encourage people to go to your website, timbuwick.com, to get the book. I know I'm going to go get the book as well. We really just kind of, connected with each other here on the internet, which is amazing. But when you're talking about this, I want you to give us a tip, but I also want you to tell us some advice. So if somebody's got it inside them to write the book, should they be writing and journaling during their experiences, this, because you went through lots of things, one after the other? Is it important to be writing through it and then come out and then kind of process it all? Or do you say, don't write until you've come all the way out of it? What say you?
Absolutely. I write all the time, and so there was an author. Two things come to mind as I think about writing. There was an author, and I can't think of the author's name. I believe he had 87 novels.
Oh,
and
wow.
he was asked, how in the world do you write 87 books? And he paused for a moment and he said, 300 crappy words every single day. And I thought about that. I go, wow. And I believe it's the author Jodi Picoult, who said, you can't edit a blank page. Write something. It could be total junk. Just write something and it will start to flow. It's like priming the pump. You've got a hand pump and you go, and there's no water coming out and you're like,
finally comes out.
And then finally you get that little trickle. But boy, it takes a lot of effort. And so I have to, the secret is getting started. I think I've got another book out. I'm writing my second book, and I think my third book is going to be the 6-minute miracle. And the 6-minute miracle is the secret is in the starting. So if you ask yourself the question on something that you should do, can you devote 6 minutes to it? Just 6 minutes.
I love that.
There's nobody that can't say, I can give it 6 minutes. There's nobody. I've lied to myself and I go, oh, I don't have time for this. That's not
6
true.
minutes.
Yes, 6 minutes. But what the miracle is, the 6 minutes turns into a dozen, 18, 24, 30, and you start getting on roll. But the secret's in the starting. And I confess so often, I don't start and just do the 300 crappy words. Just do that.
Is there a reason why it's 6 minutes and not 5 or 3?
I thought about it and I go, 6 minutes is long enough. But as I've gone through, and I've done this for years now, it really works best in 12 packs. 12 minutes, I think. But I like the 6-minute miracles. Got a better ring to it. But there's something about a dozen minutes where it's just long enough where you start getting into the flow. And it doesn't have to be writing. It could be returning emails. It could be something that you've got to get done. And just say, before I check the website to read up that are a mess again this year, or to get on, because I'm curious about everything. So I want to get in the Wall Street Journal and the New York Times and read about what's going on in the world. Before you do that, Tim, did you do your PT? Did you do your stretching? Can you devote 12 minutes to it? What are the things that I need to do on a daily basis in order to stay ablaze? And again, that's design versus drift.
I love it. You could change your life in 12 minutes a day. You know,
Yeah.
you can
Oh,
change your life in 6 minutes a day because then it turns into 12. I love that. And I know we're running out of time. We've got a few more minutes. So, Tim, before I let you go, and I definitely want to have you back, you've got so much good stuff. I hope people go to your website if they're into sports at all and tennis and what you call platform tennis and pickleball, my favorite. Your YouTube videos are phenomenal. Absolutely love them. But I want to ask you two things. One, can you give us a tip? I know you've got a list of tips in your Blasé to Ablaze book. Can you give us one key to watching and listening to go from Blasé to Ablaze? And then I want you to tell us about how people can get a hold of you.
as we are recording this, we're just out of Thanksgiving. Appreciation is the mother of all virtues. And if it starts with appreciation of we all can give thanks for elements that are in our life. And even in the darkest moments of my life, lying in the hospital bed after open heart surgery, I'm thankful I had a great surgeon that repaired my heart. You know, we can all show appreciation, and it's difficult to be blasé, to be depressed, hateful, all the other negative circumstances and dispositions we could have when at the same time we're grateful. You can't be hateful and grateful at the same time.
Oh, that's
And
good.
so often we focus on the negative of the negative aspects of our life, and we start the day with blasé and can't get out of it. But if we start the day with gratitude, if we start the day with appreciation, that is the A in Ablaze. It starts with the foundation of appreciation of this time that we've had to spend together here over the last hour. I appreciate that. It's like, what had to happen for this to happen? You reaching out to me, and it's a special time. And so everyone can do that. So make a list of 3 to 5 things you wake up in the morning and just say, I'm thankful for this. You're
Yeah.
going to be on your way to Ablaze.
And, you know, we've said that a lot too. Oh, over the years, you know, I'm a cancer survivor, domestic violence survivor. I work with nonprofits and I work with parents that have lost children. And just by waking up in the morning, having a roof over your head or clean water to drink. I mean, it seems so like cliche, but one of the charities I work with help the children of Haiti. And when you see what they're going through when they wake up in the morning, they're trying to survive and
Mm.
not dollars that are out there. I'm like, people
Oh,
around us, the
it's
gangs.
a horrible
It's just
situation.
terrible. And so I'm always so thankful every time I wake up, one, like you, having that open heart surgery that I had, I got breath in my lungs. I'm waking up, I'm getting out of a bed, have a roof. I have, you know, definitely the necessities, even just being in America, you know, we're just grateful for that and being
Freedom.
appreciative. And then I also take it to the next level. Go donate your time to a nonprofit that's you're passionate about, whether it's reading to children in hospitals or donating clothes to a, you know, domestic violence center, you know, women that are escaping domestic violence or cancer, whatever your passion is. Because when we focus on other people, it takes our mind off our problems so much. It really blesses us more than it even blesses them. But you will find such purpose in your life and such joy and happiness, even just do a little bit for somebody else today, even if it's a neighbor in need. You know, do we even
And
know our neighbors'
yeah,
names? You know?
it's one of the hard, fast miracles in life. Absolutely true. Whether it doesn't matter whether I believe it or not, it's just the way the world works. Is give and you shall receive. It is the miracle of life, of
Even
what it does within you, not only helping another person and organization, but what you get from that is truly remarkable. And with the appreciation, I've got some frustration and annoyance over the last few weeks because I've got kind of a mild form of vertigo. And so I feel like I'm walking on a trampoline all the time. And so I could focus on that. I get kind of frustrated with it and I'm going to go see a doctor. But my very next thought is there are those that have severe dizziness issues and vertigo that vomit and the world is spinning around. I'm
right.
thankful because I could play platform tennis last night, and it's a little weird sometimes where things are kind of bouncing around, but I'm able to play and I'm upright and above ground, and I'm thankful for that.
I'm sure you're thankful every day that your heart is working and beating
Amen.
today. You know, you'll take a little dizziness knowing that your heart is working, but I hope you get checked out and let us know. Keep us posted. Tim, it's been such a pleasure. I'm so glad I was searching the internet for great pickleball videos and I found yours. And you have just been such an inspiration. Can't wait to get your book. And your website is here, timbuwick.com. Real quick, we got about 3 minutes. What would you like people to most take away with? Like, are you available for booking and events? Tell us a little about where you're going and how they can, interact with you.
Yes, well, thank you. Yeah, you can go to Amazon if you just type in Tim Buwick. My book will come up. You can also go to YouTube. Just type in my name. It's Buwick. I put the W for win, even though I didn't last night.
That's
Lost
okay.
in 3 sets. Darn it. But yeah, it's Buwick. So you can do that. Of course, timbuwick.com. Yes, I'm available for keynote speaking. I do, sports announcing. I MC events. So if you've got a meeting coming up, feel free to reach out for that. And my challenge for you again is, before looking outward, look within. So look within, and what do you see? And then look without, which is, what do others see? And then look around of how you can attach your gifts and abilities to make a difference in the world. Because when you go and seek and your driver is to make a difference in the world, guess what? It makes a positive difference in you.
Well said, Tim. Thank you so much. You're all that I expected and even more, all wrapped up into an inspirational, wonderful, wonderful person. Just want to give blessings to you and your family. I hope now you're coming out of all this stuff and having some great prosperity emotionally and in health and everything as well. And you're really smart. We know we're always either starting a crisis, in the middle of a crisis, coming out of a crisis. When we learn those techniques to weather the storms, and we're surrounded by people that help us all weather these storms, then we know we're going to make it through anything. So
Amen.
Thank you for having this inspiration of hope. Hope everybody to check out timbuwick.com. And what a perfect guest to be on this show for Get Celebritized, learning how to earn and give more. You certainly do all of those and more, Tim. Thank you so much. I hope you'll come back.
Absolutely. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you, Tim. Until next time, we'll see you on Get Celebritized. Have a great day. Bye for now.